And today we got Mike from Galaxy Multi Rides. We're going to kind of be more focusing on the inflatable park today. And at the end, we're going to talk about all the other things that Galaxy does because they do a lot. So how you doing today, Mike?
Yeah, doing really good. Extremely busy. I'm glad that we could find a time to jump on board. But doing great.
So just talk about what you do a little bit, more focused on the inflatable park.
For people that don't know us, we're Galaxy Multi Rides. We've been doing this for 32 years now. And as you can tell from my accent, not originally hail from these shores. I've lived in the US 13 years and fully fledged American now. But we started as a small family company in the UK back in late 89 into 1990. And we've grown into be the world's leading manufacturer of some other rides that you know, but certainly we're the world's leading manufacturer of interactive inflatable adventure parks, which we're here to talk about today.
Right. I saw you guys at IAPA, and I really like that cool, scaled down version of your park. It's really cool.
Yeah. So for those that couldn't make it to the show, big front and center just to capture attention. It was 15 feet by 12 feet and it represented 9,600 square feet in scale. So we did a 1-to-8 ratio, giant slides. We had the meltdown. We had mechanical games in there. Honestly, if I had $1 for every time somebody walked by and touched it and dived in there, it did its job. It got in there and got people onto the booth and got them talking about inflatable parks and exploring what they're capable of and what they could do.
So yeah, getting into that, as a person who is maybe thinking about opening one, what are the things that I need to think about, or the person thinking about opening one? We're square one, starting at zero.
We've been involved in the family entertainment industry since the beginning, really. We had our own family entertainment center in the UK as a family. And what the inflatable parks do is they bring just a phenomenal attraction at just incredible price points. So you just can't fill capacity-wise the amount of space with any other attraction for the same kind of price point. It just doesn't exist. Our big thing that we talk about is the efficiency, because obviously putting inflatables in a building and calling it an FEC is not a new concept, but a lot of people have taken just standard bounce houses from companies and just dropped them in a building. And they've done okay, but there's no wow factor there, and it's wildly inefficient. So what we do is we take your floor plan and we design something totally integrated. We use a maximum amount of height that we can and the space, so there's no wasted space, because we use every square foot because you're paying for that. And if that square foot can now make you money, then it's about making you as profitable as possible. So that's what we do.
Right. Now, these are custom installs. This is not just buy pieces and do it, because, this building may have a beam here. This building may have a beam here. It needs to be built around your facility.
Custom, semi-custom, however you want to look at it. I mean, we utilize our knowledge and all the products that we've made over the last 32 years and continue to innovate. So, I mean, the best example is the Ninja Wall. That is a standard unit that we do for the party rental side of the industry. And so we have obviously the manufacturing specs for that. So we drop in different attractions into the park, and then how do those work with each other? And it's all about creating the flow. I mean, when I do all our design. So the amount of times that I'm dealing with a client and they're like, I want to fill this, and this. And I try to talk to them about flow, because you still got to have people moving around your park and being able to interact with the rides. And if you just jam, and it's what I see from people that go overseas and just order something from some website because it looks the same. And they're just jam packed full of things, and there's just no room for people to move around. So you're actually minimizing your capacity. So it's that fine balance of finding the attractions that you want to put in and creating a flow. So we take those elements and we use your floor plan. So it's not a problem if there's a column here, there, and everywhere. We did a park in northwestern Columbus, Ohio. It's the world's largest family entertainment center, Scene 75. It's 235,000 square feet. So, yeah, it's an old Macy's, and it's across 3 floors. So you can imagine any kind of shopping mall. There's a lot of columns and low ceilings. So we actually put 10,000 square feet of inflatable parking there, which for most places would be a big attraction, and it's just a little dot on everything else that they've got. But the point of that is that they've got a lot of columns, ducting, sprinklers that they couldn't move. So in some parts of the park, it gets as low as 13, 14 feet ceiling height. and then other parts it goes up to 18. So, I mean, they're custom made to follow not just your floor plan, but your roof line as well. So it's all about that efficiency, and that's probably the biggest message I can get along across to your viewers today is be efficient with your time and your space, and that'll pay you back, and that's how you'll be more profitable.
Right. So what's the way to go about this? Because it can be a big investment. Like obviously, if you already have a space, then that's a little easier. But if you're gonna plan on opening one and you haven't sunk the money into the space yet, I'm gonna possibly lease this, and then I call you. What's that process like?
Yeah, that's a great question. If somebody is interested and has seen this and thought, you know what, certainly we had these conversations during IAPA of people that have been in the party rental industry, and they just want to flip the script and be thinking, instead of me going to people, I want people to come to me. And it's all very nice and good. We've done the world's largest inflatable park in the US, and we've done some really large projects, but you can be super profitable with something really small. So for somebody getting started, don't feel like you need to go find that 15, 20, 30,000 square foot building and take on this massive overhead. We have financial models that we've run ourselves to see the profitability, where somebody could start in as little as 6,000 to 8,000 square feet, get the ball rolling, be super efficient, small footprint, small overhead, and spin them out into further parks. So step one, how do we start with that? So first off is looking for your building. I know that they make commissions, but they make commissions for a reason. Find yourself a good realtor. And if you can't, we have a great network of commercial realtors across the US, because we speak to a lot of people. They are going to find you property that you probably won't even find on stuff like LoopNet or the commercial sides of the versions of Zillow. That's the first step, is just because it doesn't cost you anything to start off with, and it's going to help you exponentially. Then talk to me, really. That's the next stage. If you can come to me with some kind of measurements, plans, visuals of the building that you found or you're thinking about, for us to do a concept design for you, you don't even need to have signed the lease agreement or be committed in any way. I've advised people on buildings. They've given me plans or pictures, and I've said, this is a great building. Or on the contrary, I've said, guys, like, this is not going to work. I've got a great example of where I was wrong on that. Coming up in the next week or so before Christmas, I had a client in Indiana present me with some plans. I'm like, oh, this looks great, just on the floor plans. And then they sent me the pictures, and I went, how tall is that ceiling? Because it looks incredibly low. I'm like, oh, it's 12 feet. And my initial reaction is, guys, you really can't do anything that low. There's, to get the wow factor, you need the scale, you need the height. But more importantly, I don't want them to lose money, and I want you guys to be profitable. So I asked them how much money they were paying in rent, and it turned out that they've got this place for a steal. I think it's an old mall. And so then I said, as long as you guys realize that you're going to be leaning towards the younger side and really focused on birthday parties, small kids, dial in on that demographic, you can be extremely profitable. So that's what they've done. So we've done an inflatable, which the highest point is 11'9". So it will be under 7s, under 6s, a lot of toddlers. That's what they're aiming for. And they've got a really low rent, and they're just going to churn and burn. On the flip side, I've designed, there's a park in Atlanta, Southwest Atlanta, that we literally built the whole park off pencil sketches that the guy gave us of the floor plan. Don't get me wrong, it's not a preferred method, and it makes me a little bit nervous, but you don't need CAD. I mean, eventually at some point, if you've got it, it's going to be great. Getting CAD files, PDFs, proper architect's drawings of the building that you're in, and they should exist, but don't panic if you don't have them at the start. So to start off, all I would need is some rough dimensions. So it might be as simple as, Mike, I've got 80 feet by 60 feet. I want the front to be on the 80-foot side, and I've got a fire exit in this back corner. I can just start with something, and then, send me some site pictures, do a little sketch, something like that, some detail, and we can get the ball rolling from there. From there, stage 2 is you'll get some concept renders from ourselves, and this is where we really stand out, and that we can do something that no one else can. So 3 years ago, we invested heavily and developed our own design software based off a gaming engine. So if anybody sees me carrying a giant Alienware gaming laptop around, it's not because I'm a gamer. It's just we need the power to run this software. But what that allows us to do is literally within 10 minutes, we can concept out a basic layout of a park, it would be about 85 to 90% accurate of what your park would be. We can change colors, we can move things around, we can add in columns. And I mean, this happened at IAPA. I had clients leaving within 20 minutes, 30 minutes with full design proposals to their building. You know, I've actually got it next to me right now. There's a customer in California that was speaking to one of our competitors at the show. He said, yeah, it's going to take them a couple of weeks, maybe after Christmas, to get designs to us. And I said, have you got 30 minutes? He said, yeah, that's what I'm here for. And we sat down and we designed his park. And by the time he got home from the show, there was a full 8-page PDF with specs, descriptions of what we were putting in the park. So it's a great tool for us. And it means that those that want to get involved and have a bit more hands-on in terms of the design, we can jump. You know, the last 2 years has made the leaps and bounds in technology with virtual communication, like we're doing right now,
right.
Super easy. So we could jump on a call and design live, and you could go, Mike, actually, can you change that blue to black? Or what about if we had some gray? And you can just see it through Zoom, and we do that a lot. From there, if you approve everything on that concept render and you like the general idea, then we do send it into engineering. And that's when, once the unsexy renders come back with engineering, they're the blocky looking ones that don't look like an inflatable, but they're the ones that we cut from. That's the last point to change anything on any color, any signage, anything is the last. That's the last point to change something. And then as soon as you greenlight that and deposit, it gets put into production. And then production from that point, from deposit and greenlit to installation, typically is 12 to 16 weeks.
Now, through our emails, you said you have some on-site things. So I'm assuming you guys, once it's built, you guys don't just ship it to there. You guys send people to go set it up initially?
Yeah. So part of our pricing structure is you'll get installation and training included. And more recently than not, it means that I've been on site. Because I do all our video work as well, so that's another added bonus that you'll get. And I'll send you some stuff that you can share with the viewers. But I mean, last week we were in Indiana finishing 3 Sky Zone parks, and I'll be in Missouri next week doing another Sky Zone park. So can have some incredible video footage. So that's another service that I do for my clients is do a full video and still shoot, and then I'll do an edit primarily for our own marketing and to talk about it, but then I'll give them the raw edit that they can use for them, and give them marketing advice on how to get going.
Nice.
So it's not just it's in our best interest that you're successful. It's not just a case of a transaction of a customer and a manufacturer, because we realize the potential and how much money these places make. So more often than not, it's not going to be your first time you buy from us. It's going to be, all right, we need to capitalize on our local market and either open a small one or build up from a small 8,000 square foot to open a giant park.
So now someone comes to you, they got a 10,000 square feet, and they say, I want a 10,000 square foot thing. Then they might not be thinking, like, would you then recommend to them, like, hey, well, you need a front counter, you need some party rooms? Like,
yeah. So that's probably my first question is when somebody says, I want to do a 10,000 square foot park, and then there's that determination whether is that the whole building or is that just 10,000 of square feet of our play space. So I was talking to an industry guy called, and I'd probably recommend you speak to Jerry. It's a guy called Jerry Marola. He is, for your viewers, he's going to be extremely valuable. So what Jerry does, his background is in the commercial banking industry. But what he does is he pulls together feasibility studies. He does all the back end work for you to make sure that whatever you're trying to plan in your area is actually going to work. So he'll pull up your demographics and the money, and he'll write out a business plan that's so good to go that all you need to do is go to the SBA, or if you're trying to get financing, that document will just carry you through, because he knows all those stages, what they're going to be looking for. So it's all there. And I was speaking to him. He said to me, he's like, I don't think somebody of your age has the experience of anybody else in the industry of how many different parks you've been in, not just in the US, but worldwide. So FECs, bowling alleys, inflatable parks, trampoline parks, laser mazes. Because we transition over so many different lines in the industry, like I've learned something from every single park. So that means I can translate it to my clients. I can say, look, a simple thing that people often get wrong. Your front desk should run into your concessions, which should run into your kitchen, because then you've got one central point. So you're not sending a member of staff from one side of the building to the other to go deliver food. If you're quiet, if you're in a certain playtime and there's nobody needs to be on the front desk, they can move into concessions, or they can move into the kitchen or something like that. It's our big thing. And I see it so much is waste. So our big thing is efficiency, because the more efficient you can get, the more profitable you're going to be, and the more money's going to be in your back pocket. It is that simple.
I mean, as the viewers of the Tank Guys show know, that's what I preach all the time. Be more efficient. Mm-hmm. You can add more things and spend more money to add new products and stuff, or you can become more efficient in what you're already doing and make more profit, as opposed to working way more and making more money. You're not necessarily making more profit. So I talk about efficiency all the time.
Yeah, we learned that the hard way as a manufacturer, is that there's only a certain price point that certain products will bear in the market. You can't just keep on, this is going to cost us more, so we need to add this, and this. So it's like, how do we make it more efficient so that we can maintain our profit margins, especially with at the moment with raw material costs and shipping just going through the roof? It's like, how do we, the costs are going to have to rise naturally, but they don't have to rise at that exponential rate, because if you can be more efficient, you can maintain that buffer and still be super profitable. And it's the same for any industry, but I see it massively. Take a trampoline park, for example. We could have the exact same play space, but in reality, the inflatable park is going to be around about 30 to 35% more play space, thus more capacity, because you're not dealing with decks and stairways, railings, and things like that, or places for people just to stand. It's actual play space. So more capacity, more visitors, more money. We have full profitability calculators and efficiency calculators that we give out to people so that they can plug in their own numbers.
Right. Yeah, that's available. I know it was in the book I got from you from my Apple, but I think I also saw it on the website too.
Yeah. Well, there's a bunch of stuff that isn't on the website because we've put a lot of time and money into some of our resources, but we've got financial pro formas for 8, 10, 15, and 20,000 square foot parks. So we can give you examples of, this is what it's going to take and this is what it's going to earn, or potentially going to earn. We always say, we give you the big, in the ROI calculator, it gives you the big 100% number. You're not going to be 100% capacity every single day, or however many days you plug into the year of every hour. But can you hit 30% capacity on average across the year? And if you can't, then you got to start questioning why you're doing it in the first place. So 30% is low, but I think something like 15,000 square feet, or let's go down to 10,000 square feet, open 50 weeks of the year, 5 days a week, 6 to 8 hours a day. I think you should be bringing in, just on ticket sales alone for 1 hour, around about 1.3 million. And that's just 1 hour tickets. The most popular tickets are usually 90-minute tickets. And then you've got concessions, you've got parties, you've got special glow nights, and other ancillary income streams. I mean, your socks. I know I'm going off on wild tangents here. Inflatable parks, we follow the trampoline park model, and whereas they have a sock with a full grip on the bottom, in an inflatable park, we only have it from the half the foot forward, because obviously when you're going down slides, you need your heel to be able to slide on the side sheets. I mean, that's a profit line for people. Those stocks cost anywhere between 40 and 60 cents a pair, and the national average is $3 a pair of inflatable park socks.
No, this has nothing really to do to you. I just want to throw it out to the people. So if you have an inflatable park like this and your ceilings are tall, there's space up there that's not being used. There's a company, I forget their name. I'll try to edit it in.
Zigzag.
They have this. What's that?
Zigzag.
Yeah. So it's a basically a zip line kind of thing, not zip line with lines, but it's like a track. And now you're utilizing that empty space up there for more income, whether that's you sell multiple pass tickets or one ride or whatever. Like they get access to the park and the zip line thing, or just one or the other or whatever.
So if people are looking for that's called a zip rail coaster. So it feels like a zip line, but you're on a solid rail, and it is attached actually to the roof beams and the rafters in the roof. We've worked on 5 projects with the guys now from Zigzag, and they complement what we do phenomenally. It's and these guys know it as well, it's not news. It's an expensive attraction, but it's that initially it'd be that loss leading attraction to bring people in as the wow thing. And the great thing about it is you can build that in stages. So after 2-3 years of being open, you can then, because of the beauty of an inflatable park is that you can still get access to the rest of the building when it's deflated. So it's not like the hard structure, like we can't get up onto this level to put this in the roof because these trampolines are in the way, or this soft play is in the way, or this simulator's in the way, or something like that. So for those that want to see both in the same place, fortunate for us, one of the local independents here. I'm based in Sarasota, Florida. We've got the USA's largest inflatable park 10 minutes from my house. And I have no ownership or stake in the place at all, but obviously have such a great relationship with them that if you want to come to Sarasota, if you want to, this time of the year, want to get a bit of sunshine, although it's a little bit grey today, the park is 15 minutes from the airport. Show you a 15,000 square foot park with multiple mechanicals. They have got a zip coaster, they've got climbing, they've got VR. So you can get a good feel for what a big, the building's 27,000 square feet and with 15,000 square feet of inflatables. So it's a good example. I always use it as a good example of a multi-attraction park, but it's still got potential to get better. I think the layout is not how I would do it, but there are some advantages, and I can communicate that to clients and say, look, this works and it's very profitable, but if you did this, you could become a bit more efficient and you could maximize this space. Yeah, if you ever want to come to Sarasota, I'd be happy to give you a tour around. You could try out the zip coaster as well, which is a lot of fun. We must have easily over 100 different options of what we can put into parks. So slides, obstacle courses, mechanicals, toddler units, parkour elements. I'm working on a virtual reality module at the moment. So you actually will be stood on an inflatable in a VR setting. So it will feel like you're on the moon. Our reputation already in the industry is for one that we're extremely innovative and pushing the boundaries. So I'm constantly designing new games and ideas. We're working at the moment on giant slides doesn't give it enough justice to some of the stuff that we're planning for FECs. We're kind of taking inspiration from the water park world and seeing how we integrate some of those giant crazy slides into an inflatable setting and just totally changing the dynamic.
Right. And you got room, in the one I saw at Apple, there's a little DJ booth. Then you can have big parties at night with the lights going and whatnot. Yeah,
so we do an elevated DJ booth, and that accomplishes a number of things. So number one, DJ booth, which is cool, but it also adds as an observation deck for during the day where you can again, efficiency, you can bring down your staff because you've got one member of staff that can more or less see across the whole park, depending on the park design and layout. But an added benefit is when we get to really big parks, we need to obviously get air pressure to certain parts of the parks. And it would be easy just to put blowers on all four sides. But obviously you have a frontage of a park and that's where your guests are. And you try to keep the blowers away from your guests and the noise. So we utilize climbing walls and DJ booths and some other attractions to get blowers centrally into the park that you'll never see, that you wouldn't know were there.
All right, so now we're all set up, we're running logistics and maintenance and stuff. Assuming if there's a rip, it's not going to be, the whole park's not just going to deflate, that somehow there's pieces and stuff.
Yeah, so this is one of the key things, especially for those people watching that are familiar with inflatables. And if anybody that's not, it's a good lesson in terms of why certain pricing is different between a quote you might get from a Chinese factory direct versus what we do. So from the outset, let's take a meltdown, for example. So for those that are not familiar, the meltdown is people commonly call it as wipeout, 8-player sweeper game. It's a 30-foot by 30-foot octagon. The rental version of that game weighs roughly 330 pounds. The inflatable park version of that is close to 860, 870. And the reasoning behind that is the level of strengthening and extra work that goes inside into the seams and what we do there to give it that strength, because we know that in some cases, there's not exaggeration, hundreds of thousands of kids and adults are going to run across that thing. So we realize that downtime is you're just losing money. So although these things look very similar, they are built extremely different,
Okay.
which makes them very hard wearing. That being said, if there was a tear or some kind of vandalism, and things happen, obviously wear and tear happens, every single unit in the park is modular. It allows you to change it out and keep your park fresh. So that's one of the great things about the inflatable parks, is that if you, after a year, if you realize that a certain game that you thought was really cool when we put it into the park isn't doing as well, or you just want to change it up and keep something new for your clients, then you can change it out fairly easy within a couple of hours. A great example of that is here in Sarasota at Jumpin' Fun. They have a 50-foot by 35-foot dodgeball court, inflatable, and it's got pop-ups, and it's like a cross between paintball and dodgeball. It's super cool. And we're a bit late for this year because we've been busy and it came to us late. But what we're going to do for next year is we're going to remove that unit and we're making a Christmas unit for him. So instead of entering via the park into the dodgeball court, that will be walled off and you'll only be able to access it from the front, from outside the park. Super themed, Christmas trees, polar bears, Christmas themed things, little maze you'll walk through, and then when you come back, you'll open up into Santa's grotto where you'll have a real life Santa, and then you're capturing those people there to take their pictures with the kids with Santa instead of going off to the mall or going to wherever your local hotspot is for pictures. So adaptability and efficiency is why we're so busy and people are really grasping the concept and going for it.
Right.
To answer your original question, see very few repairs needed. We do have a network of mobile repair people that will come on site if there's something severe. Typically, it's wear and tear. And then on that, every single high wear area or touch point in the park has a cover. So, an example of that, let's use Meltdown again. Or actually, let's use Kapow, because I'm going to send you a video of the Kapow that we put into Sky Zone last week. You'll notice that on every corner of the wall of the obstacle course, on the arm, on the cover, there's a cover, because every single person is going to touch that as they push their way through the obstacle course to get through. So they're going to wear out first, and then you just Velcro them off and just change the covers instead of the seams wearing and then it looking a bit tatty and a bit worn and torn. So pop-ups, slide covers, stairway covers, entry covers. I mean, we go to town on covers because we want your park looking fresh and we don't want it falling apart.
So with everything modular, so like say a person has a big bounce house company and then they also do this and they're like, well, that piece isn't doing that well in there. Let me take it out. That piece could then be used. It's obviously going to be heavier because it's made a little better. Yeah. But then that piece could just be used in their regular bounce house business.
Technically, yeah. Depending on what it is. Yeah. So I'm just designing. Actually, perfect. Yes. Yesterday, I have. There's a park in Lubbock, Texas called Blazing Bouncers. I think it was the 5th park we ever did. I think we're getting close to 40 parks now. After this week, we are at 40 park. We're at 41. Anyway. He's changing out his big balls and his battle beam. He just wants to freshen it up, and he's taking them out and we're putting in this really cool new obstacle course that I've designed that's going to be an out and back. So technically there'll be 2 units there, standalone. There'll be a giant joust area and a big baller. It's going to be a bit heavier and a bit green, a bit heavier and a bit harder to move around, but yeah, that could be. There's nothing to suggest that you could just pop that up in a party rental and it would still work.
All right, so I think that basically covers inflatable parks. Right. Yeah. It's all very cool stuff. Anyone wants to see it, I'm putting it throughout the video, but I'm gonna miss some stuff. What's your website?
So GalaxyMultirides.com is where you can find the stuff. So yeah, we're extremely active on YouTube. That's where we do our latest inflated park drops and new products, and you'll see all the cool edits that we do. So that's youtube.com/Galaxy Multirides. All the normal channels, Instagram, Galaxy Multirides. Facebook, we're under Galaxy America, which was the first name of the company when we moved over to the distinction between the UK and the US version. But yeah, we're big on our social in terms of video content, and we do some cool stuff. I've known people that get lost in the website for a good couple of hours, going from blog to blog and video into video. So, and it's ever growing as well.
Right, there's a lot of cool stuff on there. Well, Mike, I appreciate you coming on, and hopefully I can get you back on, and we'll just do a quick one about the mechanical bull, because there's a lot of questions. I see questions about that all the time.
Yeah, whenever you're ready. Anybody feel free to reach out to me. I'm super approachable. If you've got an idea, or even if it's just the first grain of an idea of an inflatable park and you wonder if it's the right thing to do, I will tell you if it's not. I don't want to waste people's money. So yeah, absolutely loved it, and I look forward to doing it again.
Perfect. Thank you, and have a good day, man.
Thanks.